Today, we're excited to announce a big change. Each episode will now include its English proficiency level, like beginner, intermediate, or advanced, right on the thumbnail. Evan, why did we decide to do this?
Great question, Aaron. Many listeners told us that knowing the level would help them choose the right episode for their skills. By organizing episodes into playlists by level, learners can find exactly what suits them, making progress smoother and more motivating.
It's about taking the guesswork out, right? For anyone just starting or looking for a challenge, you'll always know where to begin. Plus, we're adding resources like PDFs with exercises and reflection prompts to deepen the learning experience.
Exactly. And this structure not only helps learners advance at their own pace, but also makes it easier to revisit episodes as their skills improve. It's a more personalized and effective way to master English.
Now that we've covered the new format, let's dive into today's topic: money and happiness. It's something everyone thinks about, no matter where they live. Why do you think this theme resonates with so many people, Crystal?
Money and happiness are universal concerns. Most of us work hard, save, and dream of a better life. But the relationship between money and happiness isn't as straightforward as it seems. It prompts deep reflection about what truly matters.
That's so true. I think everyone wonders if more money actually makes life better, or if there's more to happiness than just financial success. Today, we'll explore these ideas through stories, practical language tips, and personal reflections. Crystal, many believe more money guarantees more happiness. But is it really that simple? Can you help us unpack this assumption a bit?
Absolutely. While research, like the famous 2010 Princeton study, shows that happiness rises with income up to a point, after basic needs are met, extra money has a much smaller impact. It's like a glass of water once you're no longer thirsty. More water doesn't make you happier.
That's a great analogy. So, what are some ways people can avoid using money as the main measure of their success or value?
It starts with self-awareness. Instead of comparing salaries or possessions, focus on your own goals and values. Remember, your worth isn't tied to your income. It's about who you are and how you live.
You mentioned comparison. With social media showing us glamorous lifestyles, it's easy to feel we're missing out. How can learners recognize and resist this comparison trap?
Comparison is natural, but it can be harmful when it leads to dissatisfaction. A 2021 UK survey found that 60% of young adults felt worse about themselves after scrolling through social feeds. To resist, focus on gratitude and limit exposure to unrealistic online portrayals.
So, cultivating gratitude can help shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. Can you share a technique or daily habit that helps with this?
A simple practice is writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day, no matter how small. Over time, this builds resilience against comparison-driven unhappiness.
Let's talk about comfort and contentment. People often confuse the two. Could you explain the difference, maybe with some real-life examples?
Certainly. Comfort comes from material things like a warm blanket or a cozy house. Contentment, however, is a sense of enoughness and inner peace. For example, someone with modest means but strong relationships may feel deeply content, even if their life looks simple from the outside.
So, money can buy comfort, but not necessarily contentment. Why do some people with less seem happier than those with more?
Because contentment comes from connection and appreciation of the present. It's about experiences, not expenses. Small, meaningful moments often bring more joy than big purchases.
Your story about time really stood out. In our busy world, we often spend time to earn money, but forget that time itself is precious. How can learners rethink time as a form of wealth?
Time is the only resource we can't earn back once it's spent. Studies show that people who prioritize time over money, like choosing a shorter commute or more flexible hours, report higher life satisfaction. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values.
That makes sense. Could you give a practical example of trading money for time and how it impacts happiness?
Sure, someone might pay for grocery delivery to free up an hour for family or hobbies. This small investment can yield a greater sense of well-being than simply saving every penny.
Our society often encourages us to chase more money, more things. But the idea of enough is powerful. How can learners identify what enough means for themselves?
Enough is personal. It means having sufficient resources to meet your needs without excess. Try reflecting on what truly adds value to your life, whether it's quality time with loved ones, creative expression, or quiet moments. When you define your own enough, you're less swayed by external pressure.
That's insightful. Is there a risk in always striving for more? And how might that affect well-being?
Constant striving can lead to burnout and a sense of emptiness, even with material success. Setting boundaries and recognizing when you have enough can create space for genuine happiness.
Another key point is the happiness that comes from giving. It's often said that giving makes us feel richer. Is there scientific evidence supporting this idea?
Absolutely. A 2008 Harvard study found that spending money on others increased participants' happiness more than spending on themselves. Giving, even in small ways like sharing time or skills, fosters connection and a sense of purpose.
That's inspiring. For learners, what are some ways they can experience the benefits of giving, even with limited financial resources?
Giving isn't just about money. Acts of kindness, volunteering, or simply offering a listening ear can be deeply rewarding. These actions build empathy and community, essential for both language learning and personal growth.
In today's world, there's pressure to upgrade everything from gadgets to clothes to signal success. How can learners shift their focus from status symbols to meaningful experiences?
It starts with intention. Instead of chasing trends, invest in experiences that nurture your well-being, like taking a class, spending time with friends, or simply resting. Research by Dr. Thomas Gilovich shows people derive more lasting happiness from experiences than possessions.
That's a valuable perspective. So, by choosing how we spend our money and time, we can create more joyful and memorable lives rather than just accumulating things.
Exactly. Life's richest moments often come from presence and connection, not from what we own.
Let's bring it back to the little things. You mentioned that happiness often lives in small, everyday moments. How can learners practice noticing and appreciating these?
Mindfulness is key. Try to be fully present during ordinary activities like enjoying your morning tea, listening to music, or sharing laughter. Studies suggest that mindful awareness can increase positive emotions and reduce stress.
For language learners, could shadowing or repeating positive phrases from today's episode help reinforce this mindset?
Definitely. Repeating meaningful vocabulary, such as contentment or enough, not only strengthens language skills, but also encourages reflection. It's a practical way to grow both linguistically and emotionally.
Before we wrap up, let's review some essential vocabulary from today's episode. Crystal, could you walk us through a few key words and their practical uses?
Of course. Let's start with contentment, the feeling of quiet happiness with what you have. For example, she lives simply but with great contentment. Next, worth refers to personal value, beyond money. Your worth is not based on your salary.
Those are powerful words. Any others learners should remember?
Yes, restless means feeling uneasy, even when life looks good. Clutter describes too much stuff, either physical or mental. And presence is being fully aware of the moment, not distracted.
Repeating and using these words can really help learners speak naturally about money, happiness, and life.